like talking about you with me. I could die just thinking about you and you're not with me. All this time, you fill my head and all my daydreams of you. In the night, let's like talking about you with me. I could die just thinking about you and you're not with me. All this time, you fill my head and all my daydreams of you.
Destroy my ears. It's going out to everybody. Destroy my ears. It's going out to everybody.
Grown Folks Production.
In the mix.
With the Commish, Nate.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show. I was reaching up to turn off my mic on my big headphones, and I forgot I got these little headphones in. Man, we're going to look at mid-season surprises here in the OMFL. Some teams, some players, some guys that are just surprising us so far early in the season. We're going to recap some games from 7, 8, and 9. Open up the OMFL mailbag, see what guys got to say, what questions they might have for us. It's going to be a good time. I appreciate you hanging out with me here tonight. If you've never checked us out, thank you. First, I appreciate you. Hit the like button, come subscribe. The OMFL is the world's oldest online Madden CFM. We are 26 years old. I need to do the math again. Start in 2001. So whatever the quick math off the top of my head is, we are almost 26 years old here this January. Grown Folks is an online community for adult gamers. So if you're an adult gamer who likes the game, we got a group here that probably plays the things that you play. All of our details are down in the Discord. We got a great show tonight. OMFL News making a return for us tonight. I appreciate Denbrew for that. We're also going to go to some of our commercial partners who are partnering with us. Either way, we're going to have a good time. I am still sipping on honey, water. I used to do tea, chamomile tea with honey and lemon, but it just was tearing me up. So honey and water, keep it simple. Trying to keep this cough suppressed and taken care of, and hopefully it will not be a problem. Week number 7, Steelers and Bengals didn't get played at all. That ended up being a sim game, and that's a tough one because both of those guys are fighting for their lives, even though we're halfway through this season. Rams with a 49-39 victory over Nicesonger. D-Money continues to have that team rolling, but Nicesonger able to turn the corner here and compete with one of the top dogs that we have here in the OMFL. Massimo beats Little Koch 26-20. Kobe with a 27-10 victory over Bird. Bird's been sliding for a couple of weeks. He can't seem to figure it out. I'm right there with you, brother, but I've only got one win. We got Black Cats, Mr. Byron with a 34-31 victory over Lost Sniper. I fell to Colin 35-41. Twinkie with a 27-17 victory over Big Hurt. Big win for him. Hooper Dynasty. When did he change his name? Luca. I don't know what he wants to go by. I need to find out what Luca wants to be called now. 45-27 over Jay Bowles. Beal with a 20-17 victory over Jay Glaze. That might have been a CPU game because I think Glaze is gone for just a little bit. Randy with a 34-27 victory over Trey. Big win for him there. Arizona and Maniac whipping up on Priest and the Packers. This game, unfortunately, had to play a couple times. But man, anytime you can hang a 50 burger, Maniac is getting it done over there. Dwayne in Dallas with a 33-20 victory over Penguins. Cincy Berg will get it all the way out. 26-7 over Crazy B-Man. Tim with a 2-point victory, over Kevin, 28-26. And then rounding out week number 7, a 38-22 victory for Meek Boy over Roger. I watched a little bit of this game. Roger just couldn't get the offense rolling, especially that big play offense. I want to come up here and talk about this close game between Miami and Cleveland, man. Rushing yards, it was all about what Cleveland could get done on offense, period. 17 first downs, 256 passing, 122 running the ball, but it was the turnovers that ended up being costly for them. They ended up tied 2 for 2, but still turning the ball over in a close game. That's going to hurt you whether you're at home or on the road. This one ended up coming back to get him. The Browns kind of owned a lot of this game, 23 minutes to 20 minutes time of possession. He had the rushing yards. He had the passing yards. Oh, we can kind of see we had a little bouncing around of quarterbacks here. Shiloh Sanders, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 250 yards. He was 15 of 33. I don't know if we have an injury in Cleveland or if he's just trying to figure out who he wants over here. Geno Smith was 1 for 1, 19 yards, and then looked like he got hurt or pulled from this game. And Jimmy gets it done. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 197 yards. Both of these guys got sacked 4 times combined, and both under 50% completion percentage. Tough day for the quarterbacks. Juckins, 89 yards on the ground. Wright, 42. Nothing else really to be said there. Coleman, 79 yards on 5 receptions. Bond, 59 yards on 3 receptions. But Westbrook Ekin, 1 for 58. A big play ended up going a long way in this game. Looking at the defense really quick. Aswa Kuma. I am just jacking these guys' names up. Jeremiah. JOK, 10 tackles on the day, 3 of them for a loss, and then 2 sacks by Delpit. So sending that safety up there. Is he playing safety for him? Yeah, he's playing strong safety. And Robinson also had 2 sacks, a lot of sacks in these games. Fitzpatrick, Harris, Ward, Newsome, the second, all with an interception. And the Miami Dolphins with a big-time victory there on the road against Little Koch and those Cleveland Browns. Looking at week number 8, we got the Vikings and Chargers. Big Hurt versus Trey. Big Hurt barely falls in this one, 23-26. Kobe falls to Denbrew, 31-36. I think Denbrew's got that PlayStation Portal with him on the road. I've been playing with the idea of giving one of those away. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're watching this later, if you're watching this right now, let me know what you think about that. I'm thinking about giving one away. I think it would be kind of a neat little thing to be able to do. Bill, 27-16 over Twinkie. So though Twinkie had the big win last week, Bill bounces back this week and gets him a victory. Puts Twinkie back in that spot where he wants to hold him in. Lost Sniper with a 31-13 victory over Little Koch. Roger bouncing back with a 34-26 victory over Crazy B-Man. C. Murder continues his hot roll. He's got these Bears on 27-25 over Nipples. Buffalo falls. Joker falls to the Panthers 45-40. No defense, in this game at all. But Bills and Joker, he's known for that. He can put up points on just about anybody. Carolina in this game, though, was able to keep pace. Cincyberg with a 21-17 victory over Massimo. My Saints fell to Kevin 24-21 at home. Byron with a 38-33 victory over Randy. Sometimes I'll look at the name and I'm like, say the name you see, and then it hits me as I'm starting to say the name I see what their real name is. Dwayne, the 34-17 victory over Denver. Jake Glaze, I think Jake Glaze is gone though. Logan with a 37-18 victory over, I almost said Penguins because I got Steelers, Penguins still in my head, but over the Packers and Coach Priest. Finally, Luca with a 48-44 victory over Penguins. two big time victories in a row, week 7 and week 8. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because this one is a bit of a surprise. There were some really good games that we could have talked about. The Kansas City Chiefs, though, getting 2 turnovers on the day, but lost in just about every other category here. Lost in rushing yards, 114 to 99. Passing yards, 398 to 379. First downs, 25 to 23. Just about everything else, though, like third down conversions, he had a few more of those. The red zone was even between these two. The time of possession, basically even. It was pretty much even. Mahomes, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Daniels, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. These guys played very similar, 72 to 69% completion percentage. No sacks on the day. Cooks, 16 for 89 and 1 touchdown. 9 for 56 from Samuels Sr., moving over to running back for those Commanders. And then look at these receiving yards. 7 for 146 and 1 from Jackson. Worthy, 7 for 144 and 2. Rice, 7 for 144 and 3. Those two guys single-handedly took this game over. McLaurin and Burbank each had a touchdown on the day as well. And then finally looking at the defense, Snow with 10 tackles on the day. Your tackles for loss was going to be Murphy and Graham. Your sacks, there was none. We didn't have any sacks in this game. And then Murphy, Graham, Cook, and Lattimore each getting their hands on the ball and getting an interception. Did we have a forced fumble in this one? Man, lots of turnovers, lots of stats. I wish I would have known how this one ended. Kansas City putting up 21 in the fourth quarter with a combined 32. Am I doing the... No, that would be 28... 35 points here in the fourth quarter. My old brain wasn't working there. That's a lot of points in the fourth quarter. Both teams got red hot, and Kansas City sneaks away in this game against the Washington Commanders with a victory. And then finally, week number 9, which I think is going to be wrapping up tomorrow. Oh, I didn't even look at that, Cincy. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. They're expensive, but man, the OMFL, the guys have been awesome. So we have it. It may limit how many other giveaways we can do, but I don't know. I'm playing with it. It'd be a kind of a neat idea. Anyway, week number 9 here. Baltimore Nipples loses second week in a row, 23 to 28 to Massimo. Cincinnati and Denbrew continues to stay hot, 52 to 38 against Colin, who's been hot himself. The Trey and the Chargers 42 to 10 against Byron. That's a big time victory. The New York Giants and Coach Bill 34 to nothing against Crazy B-Man. Roger and the Texans with a 35 to 31 victory over Jay Glaze. Again, I think that is a CPU game that was played twice, so who knows? Cincy Berg, he's here in the chat with me, 28 to 21 over Lost Sniper. Lost seems to like hang in there with everybody, just can't quite put all those pieces together. Priest coming away with a shocking victory, 35 to 31 over Bird and those Carolina Panthers. Probably come back and look at that one. The Colts fall to Logan and these Steelers 41 to 31. Randy found himself not playing very good defense in this one. And I played my game a little earlier today. It was the first drive of the game was a perfect example of my season. He gets going. We play good defense. I think it's second down, first down. I don't remember. Runs up the gut. We smash him, fumble. His super fast wide receiver, Tyson, picks up the fumble after a skirmish of the ball bouncing around forever and ever. Outruns the defense, touchdown. Very next drive, I think we end up having a fumble going right back to him. That's the kind of season that I've had in this one. I want to come back here and look at this game between the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Birdman, he and I were talking last night. He's on the struggle bus, can't figure out what's wrong with his team, and dropping a game here to Priest, you just scratch your head and go, wow, things are really tough over there. Look at Priest finding some balance here, 118 rushing, 312 passing. Bird usually, when he is playing red hot and good Panthers football, he's running the ball really well. He's not able to do that in this game with only 51 rushing yards. Third down conversions go to the Green Bay Packers. The first downs go to the Packers, rushing yards go to the Packers, turnovers even between these two, and the red zone touchdowns go to the Packers, as well as time of possession. Not by a lot, but just a little bit there. Young, 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, 413 passing yards. Love, 322, 4 touchdowns with 2 interceptions, but Young was sacked 3 times on the day. Jacobs, 21 with 101. No touchdowns on the day, but able to keep that clock going, grinding out those tough yards. Really nothing here from the Carolina Panthers. 9 for 30 and 7 for 19. Receiving, though, McMillan, 10 for 218 and 2. But look at Kaufman, 10 for 172 and 4. He heard us talking about him the other day. I still don't understand this face. It's weird. And then Leggett, 6 for 166 and 2. Man, the Carolina Panthers passing offense was definitely working for them. Wallace with 11 tackles on the day, 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks from Van Ness, 1 from Wyatt. Not even going to try this one from Princely. He had 1, and then Sorrell had a half a sack. And then finally, 2 interceptions, 1 from Cole and 1 from Horn. So Carolina defense able to turn over the Green Bay Packers, but just not enough to keep the Panthers from, I said Packers, but I meant Panthers, not enough to, I'm all twisted. I got it back here now. Carolina picked off the Packers, not enough to keep Priest from getting a win. Way too many P's in that one. I don't know what's going on, but it messed with my head there for a second. Let's go to the OMFL news, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of our surprise teams, surprise players so far this season. I'm excited to bring back the OMFL news. Why don't you take it away? If I can find it. Where did I do with it? Oh, here it is. All right, I found the button. I was trying to find the button. Take it away, Denver.
Welcome back to the OMFL News. I am Denbrew, and I am back from my sabbatical, and I am ready to bore you with some more of my OMFL news. So let's get into it. We are hitting that midpoint of the season, so I went looking into the stats this morning to see if I could find anything interesting, and after a little bit of digging, I believe I came up with a few nuggets you guys might enjoy. Let's start off with that easy nugget that I found this morning. To no one's surprise, I hope, D-Money is back and getting it done with his new team, the LA Rams, led by Matt Stafford and his incredible 27-4 touchdown to interception ratio. Did any of you really think he just woke up one day last cycle and suddenly forgot how to play the game? He didn't. He is back and he is dominating. Let's keep that QB theme rolling with number 2. And we'll talk about the Las Vegas Raiders import, Ian Peters. This guy is having himself a season also. But the stat that stuck out to me is after 212 pass attempts, he's yet to be sacked. And before any of you react and say he's just chucking it down to his tight end Bowers or his new rookie toy, Genty, that's not the case. Ian Peters leads the league in average yards per attempt. So he's not only not getting sacked, but he's chucking it down the field too. Let's go. Number 3, last but not least, and sticking with this QB theme, we have a rookie QB up there in Seattle who was on pace to have nearly 1,000 yards rushing. If he keeps up this pace, he's just going to come just shy. Currently, he's at 403 yards through 7 games. But now the nugget that I was talking about is that not only does he lead all quarterbacks in rushing, but he leads all players in the OMFL with fumbles. So he got a little risk factor that Seattle's willing to live with up there. So he's fumbled the ball at least 1 time per game. That's all for this week. I'm going to send it back to Nate and press pass live. It's great to be back. See you.
Now, love me some Denbrew. I had to mute my mic there because I was coughing up a storm. I apologize. Let's talk about some surprises. I want to talk about surprise teams, and we can go look at a few surprise players. We're halfway through, so we're getting a good vibe of how this season is going to end up playing out the rest of the way. My number 1 surprise has to be Bill and his New York Giants. He's sitting here at 8-1 now. If you've ever played him and you see that defensive line on your first drive, you immediately understand why this team is so good. And then he comes out on offense, and even with a rookie quarterback, he's efficient, he's effective, he can hit the big play with Neighbors. You got a couple other speedy receivers, some really good tight ends, an offensive line that's playing really, really well this year. Just overall, that team is playing great football. And I just didn't think these Giants, first year, he would be this red hot, sitting here at 8-1, 214 points for him, 132 points allowed. That just shows you that defense is really carrying this team, but the quarterback isn't losing it. The quarterback can win it. We've seen him win it there in Dallas. That's a big-time victory, and I think that confidence is going to continue to build and allow Bill to make a run at a deep playoff run with a team right out of the box. The second team is going to be Kobe and his Jets, and even though you talk about Kobe going back to the Jets, that shouldn't be a surprise to you. This roster is just slightly better than my roster, and somehow he has brought over the right imports with the right mixture. Now I know he's got a really great running back. He's got a pretty good offensive line, some really good players on defense. I'm not quite sure what all he bought over there or who's quarterbacking this team. If he is using Fields overall for Madden can be a pretty relatable quarterback. We've seen what he used to do back in the day when he was with the Jets, and he had the white kid. I can't think of his name, and I'm sure Cincy will say it here in the chat, but he had the white kid they could run around with and throw with a big arm. So the Jets have just a surprise because this team is not a great roster, and yet somehow he's playing really good defense, just slightly worse than or allowing a few more points than what the Giants are allowing, but playing better offense, 225 for him. He did lose his last game, sitting at 6-2. That team is red hot. And then finally, for the good side, it's going to be the Steelers. Logan moving over to a team that's got it's a weird team. It's got like superstars in some areas and a lot of age in some areas, some youth in some areas. But man, he's got the right mixture working over here for Logan. 255 points for him. 166 points allowed. He's on a streak of 2. He's sitting at 5-0 at home. He's got that team sitting at 6-2. The question, as you can see, is going to be, what can he continue to do on the road? 6-2 means he's 1-2 on the road. That's not going to be a great record being on the road here in the OMFL, especially in that division. So the long-term play is still there for him, but Logan has got these Steelers rocking and rolling. On the other side of the coin, some negative surprises for me. We got to talk about a Bird, man. I would have never guessed that he was going to be at 4-5, even though that team was going to be a rebuild. The quarterback lost a lot of throwing power from Madden to Madden. He got like a slow, big, tall receiver, which always is a struggle in Madden, unless you're Cincinnati or Cincyburg, I should say, and you're setting records with those guys. I'm sure Bird will get it figured out over there. It's the quarterback. It's the run game that's been the biggest surprise to me. And then that defense, he's got great DBs. We've seen that even in the last game against the Packers. He was able to pick off the Packers a couple of different times, but not a lot of pressure. Great defensive tackles, needs some defensive ends, needs some linebackers. He's going to go have a really great draft this year. He's going to come back ready to just rake for the rest of this cycle. He's going to get that thing turned around. Another one's going to be the Lions and Tim. Tim has such a fun team, and his decisions with import kind of raised a couple of small eyebrows, and not seeing Tim play up to the standard that I feel like he started to build before coming to the Lions, but then really took him to another level after getting the Lions back from Trey. He's sitting here at 3-4. If I recall correctly, Trey and Tim have worked out a swap every other Madden. I think I've got that right. And so Tim's got to get things turned around here. If he's going to make a run, he's got to start to string some wins together. He did go on a 2-game winning streak here, but he's not scoring a lot of points, playing some pretty good defense, only 153 points against him. But you're sitting with a losing record at home, which also means you got a losing record on the road. So, man, you got some things to figure out if you're Tim and those Lions. And then finally, we got to talk about the Bills and Joker. Joker is such an underrated, I think, team builder, an extremely good drafter, a guy that he just puts it together and goes out and drafts really, really well. He's one of these guys that I thought was going to step into the Bills day one and be ready to rock and roll. He had all the pieces, right? He's got the quarterback, he's got the running back, the offensive line, he's got some really good players on defense. It just has not come together for him. He's scoring some points in some games not so much, because you can see he's only scored 170 points for the season, but we've seen him against me, against Maniac, or not against Maniac, whoever that last game was it the Patriots maybe. He can score 40, 45, 50 points, but it's the defense. He just allows way too many points on defense. He's on a 2-game losing streak, even record at home, losing record on the road. I just thought the Browns were going to be, or the Bills, I should say, were going to be clicking and rolling a little bit quicker than that, a little bit better than that. Let's look at some stats. I want to show you a couple surprises that I've seen over here. We're going to go over here to the NFL stats, or I should say the OMFL stats. Drake May playing really good football. He's one of the first ones that I think got traded last cycle. He got shipped off to Tampa Bay. Lost Snipers like, hey, I got my dude. I'm ready to go. This one, he's like, no, I'm going to stick with May here. And he's got a 22-13 ratio, touchdown to interception ratio, a QBR of 103. I think that's a big-time surprise. He's just playing really good football. And it probably shouldn't, because this is a guy in the NFL that can put it all together and play really good football. But seeing him get shipped out so quickly last cycle because of who Lost had, and he's just kind of picked up the mantle pretty well here and got this thing going. Since he's here in the chat, we got to talk about Penix. I think he's playing good football. Touchdown to interception ratio is not amazing. The completion percentage, not amazing, but only giving up 8 sacks. He's 2,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, and I'm sure if we went and looked for it, we'd find a bunch of rushing yards as well for this guy. He's playing really, really good football. Tremaine Jordan over here for Maniac, he kind of splits time over there, but a 16-8 ratio, 2,248 yards, 58% completion percentage. That's going to be really good for Maniac as he starts to build this. Tootin, this is a big surprise for me. Only 86 attempts, but 678 yards, a 7.9 average with 5 touchdowns, giving Jacksonville some bright spots, some hope for that team. And I think he's been a really bright spot for a team that's still trying to put all the pieces together there in Jacksonville. Receiving, we always see the inflated numbers, and we see it once again. McCool, Richards, even Lowry down here, Burden. I mean, we just always will have inflated receiver numbers because of the way this game plays, because of the way we call the game, all that stuff. But McCool, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I would say 1,200 yards, 70 receptions, 12 touchdowns in just 9 games. I mean, the guy's just looks to be trying to break records once again. We've seen that before. The chat's kind of getting out of hand. I gotta go back and try to see if I can catch up after this one. I'm gonna get through the rest of my surprises here. Your tackle leaders, these are not names. Well, Fred Warner, yes, but Barton, McMullen, Brooks, Greenlaw, good players, but not the players I would have thought would be up here for tackle leaders. I think overall, though, just looking at the sacks, the sack numbers are spread pretty well, but we're not seeing the super high amount of sacks, and I might give some thoughts on that a little bit later. But first with 9, Parsons with 8.5, Hutchinson with 8.5. None of these names surprise me. I think the surprise just overall is that we get a lot of pressure, but not necessarily a lot of sacks. I don't know that I dislike that. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just sort of filling it out here. And your interception numbers, also fairly low. I kind of like that. I know we all have a lot of dropped interceptions. Hate seeing that one. We all have a lot of dropped interceptions, but overall, I think it plays really, really well. And it's given us the ability to have some mistakes from time to time, have some bad reads, and we see it in the NFL. Guys drop interceptions that are right to them all the time. 4 forced fumbles for Khalil Mack. He's still getting it done for Trey over there. All right, let me see if I can read these really quick before I get going. Really thought Bills should have added 2 defensive imports. He brought over 2 receivers, which doesn't surprise me, right? He loves that offense. Bird said speed. And then Trey said, I'd like you to redirect your stidham over the Chargers not being built to my style. I will, Trey. Whatever you tell me to do, that's what I'll do, Trey. Whatever anyone tells me to do, I'll just agree and move on with my life. So whatever Trey just said, I agree with him. Let's look at the, what do we want to do next? Let's go look at the OMFL mailbag. Those are some early season surprises. Here's another surprise I'll throw in there. And the fact is that we haven't seen a lot of rookies step in and take over. We've had some imports do it, but we haven't seen a lot of rookies like really, really shine. I think that's a good thing, right? We shouldn't see rookies just stepping in here and taking over right from the get-go. So let's go to another commercial really quick. When we come back, we'll open up the OMFL mailbag. After the OMFL mailbag, I want to talk about, I think, what would be a really interesting what if for you. So if you're in the chat, get ready. I'm going to present you with 2 options. What would you like to see? Because I think a lot of us think we would pick one, but maybe not if you actually had to live it out. So I want to hear what you're thinking when we come back. Let's get over to one of our sponsors here, and I want to talk about my guy that's putting in the work, Mr. Lost Sniper. If you haven't seen the stuff he's creating for us, you're missing it. Go check out those, man. It is amazing. And I haven't told him yet, but I'm going to see if he'll let me, when the app drops, let me tell like the Neon Sports guys and the other guys that own these big, like what Lost has created, and let Lost go sell this stuff. I don't know. I feel like Lost should just start his own little thing over there because he's got some stuff figured out. Let's get over to the Gold Sheet. We'll be back with some OMFL mailbag.
Hey, Paisan, it's Don Lost Sniper, the line maker, your friendly neighborhood advisor. You got bad bets? Forget about it. We'll make your bad bets disappear, or maybe you will. Commish? Listen, don't trust the bookies? Neither do we. That's why we persuade the odds in your favor. You don't win? Let's just say we know the guy who knows a guy. Don't be a mook. Join the family. Get guaranteed picks, or we'll have a little sit down with Lady Luck herself. We got ways of making her cooperate. Bada bing, bada boom. As they say, time to go to the mattresses.
All right, we're going blind or brunette. Anyway, we'll save that one for a little bit later. Bill's opened us up today with the OMFL mailbag. He said, if you had your choice, would you rather have an offense that scores 35 points per game or a defense that only gives up 12 points per game? The question, Bill, is if I get the offense that scores 35, what's the defense attached to that? Does that mean I also have to give up 35? Or is it totally up to me? And then if the defense is only giving up 12, does it my offense is totally up to me? Or is there like a tag team? I think that question is a little better if you tell us both sides of that. But if I had to pick, especially here in the OMFL and thinking about the guys that you're going to face, give me the 35 points per game. I know that the shootouts usually tend to not always go your way, but I played really, really good defense, and there's nothing more frustrating. I'm assuming by the way this question was phrased, that means if your defense is really great, your offense probably is not, and it just sucks not being able to do anything on offense. Give me an offense that blows away, and if I give up a couple of big plays on defense, whatever, I'm fine with it, because if guys are doing that, I can probably keep up, and that's what I like. So what would you do? You want an offense that scores 35 or a defense that gives up 12? Really good question there from Mr. Bill. Coming over to Mr. Nicehunger. He says, what team from both AFC and NFC that is currently under 500 do you think could still make the playoffs? So let's get over here and let's take a look at our NFL standings. We're going 500 or lower. There's a couple of games that are still to be played. So Commanders, we'll run through the list. Commanders, Eagles, Pats, Panthers, Raiders, Cardinals, Lions, Bills, Jags. I'm stopping there. I'm sorry, but 6+ lose teams already. They're not making the playoffs. Number one, right off the tippy top, I'm taking Commanders. Penguins is a really good player. Defense travels, goes on the field really well. I know he's on a 4-game losing streak. That means that team was 4-0 at one point. I think Commanders could definitely make a run. Patriots, just because I'm a massive fan, but you see he's on a 1-game losing streak. That team has sort of been up and down. I can see the Patriots making a run. Panthers totally could turn things around, though. This is the least confidence I've ever seen Bird in, I think, my entire time of knowing him and being around him. I could see Bird going on a run with those Panthers. And then finally, the Cardinals and Maniac. He plays really good offense. He's a really good play caller. The team just needs a couple of pieces to come together for him. I could see him turning some things, making a run at one of those wild card spots and getting into the playoffs there. There's probably some other teams here that maybe the Lions, maybe the Bills. After that, it gets a little funky, and I'm not quite sure we got one there. But that's the ones that I would go with. Penguins were in buy now mode. Got a big-time cornerback and receiver trying to win now. Yep, absolutely. I agree with you. I think there's some trades that went in today that I haven't fully gotten to see, but I seen that big one went through. Nice Hunger says, what part of the game do you feel is hardest to play at this point? Quarterback, because I got a 70 over quarterback. I think defense can be difficult. I run a 3-4. I switched to the 3-4 last year, and then the Saints this year switched to a 3-4, and so it fit for me to keep it. My problem with the 3-4 is that there's just not enough man defenses in there. And so you find yourself sort of, I don't know, going around and around and around trying to find enough man coverages. And the man coverages that it leans heavy to are going to be cover one. And you just, in this league, you're leaving yourself wide open to give up just some massive plays. And so I find that defense can be difficult, especially for me. I'm not able to get any pressure on the quarterback. I'm not sacking the quarterback, which isn't leading to turnovers, even though I got turnovers today that kept me sort of in the game, but I couldn't get anything rolling on the offense. I think if I absolutely, say, just pick one section of the game, not offense or defense, like any section, I would pick run game. I don't know why, but my team cannot run block. I think across the league, we're seeing that guys are not able to get the run blocking that we've seen in the past. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a fairly good thing. I think because when the run game explodes, then everything opens up and scores increase. And so, that's sort of, I think the run game, even though we gave it a little boost, a little tweak there, is still pretty difficult. Cincyberg, if we played a league where you could only play as one lock position, the rest being CPU controlled, what would you use? I thought that was a great question, Cincyberg. What up, Daniel? Cincy, that was a great question when I read it a little earlier today. Well, I'm going to take offense. I'll play the offensive game first because I think that one's if we're talking about playing the way we play, because we all got to play quarterback, right? So that gets a little weird. But if you could only play one position, say, like on offense, those old 3v3 leagues that you could play, those tournaments that you could play, and you all had to pick a position. Receiver, I'm a receiver at heart. I love playing receiver. I love having a big time receiver. I miss Hal so much, man. He would revolutionize this offense, and I now see myself very handicapped without having that big play potential on the outside. On the defensive side of the ball, if I can only play one position, this might shock people, but I'd play middle linebacker. I just think that the best defensive players here play middle linebacker. They shoot the gap. They can blitz you. They can take away number to number, hash to hash, the middle of the field. And those guys just, like, I find to be really, really difficult when they're on fire. When the Birds and the Dwaynes and the Cincybergs, like Penguins, right, and Treys, like these guys are like shooting the gap on your run game with their middle linebacker. Or even when they're biting up on your play action, but able to quickly recover, they just cause too much havoc. And I think those are really, really difficult guys. And so I try to play middle linebacker. Maniac says, with the new commercials being nice touch, will we see more? I don't know. Not probably anytime soon. I don't know what else to do, and I don't know who else would do one. I feel like I tagged all the guys that would even be willing to do one, and I don't want to do a bunch of AI stuff. I find that boring and uncreative and not fun, so it's just not something that gets me going. I'd love for if any of those guys had more ideas. I'd love to get some more, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I got all the milk I could get out of that cow. So I don't know. We'll see. Who's your favorite player on your team currently? I have no clue. None. Zero. I don't have a favorite player on my team. I haven't found one player that I enjoy using at all. And so I really don't have a favorite player. I'm ready for the season to end so I can start to draft some players. Trey, for you safety users, if you see two streaks, one midfield and one on the outside, what streak are you jumping on, or are you trying to play between them? I'm doing the in-between thing. First, I'm hoping that I've done my homework before going into that game, that I can kind of see if a guy likes to hit his receiver or hit a guy that's playing the streak in the center as a slot or the tight end, maybe, right? If they're running that streak with the tight end. So I'm already sort of coming out knowing, okay, this is a play either I've seen watching film or stats-wise says he likes to go one or the other. But either way, what I will try to do, I can't let all the tricks out of it, I'll try to play in between. I don't think it's a big secret. I'll try to do what everybody tries to do. I'll try to lean to one side to make them want to go to the other, but not overplay it so I can recover. So for me, it would be play the receiver, get over the top of the receiver, but staying deep enough and not overplaying the receiver that I can't recover for the slot or the tight end or whatever's hitting the middle of the field. Now, if I just have to pick one, I'm probably picking the middle of the. Again, it depends on what side, right? Because it depends on my cornerback. So if it's some of my slower cornerbacks, I may try to help over the top there. If it's some of my faster cornerbacks, I may try to take away the slot. I'm going to try to take away both. I'm going to stay really disciplined, stay in the middle of the field, and maybe lean to one side, get them to make the decision to the other side, and then take that away, or try to play the middle field and hope that the rush gets there. I think that's a really fun question. So. All right, that's going to be the it of the mailbag. Let's go to another commercial, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about our question of the day. I want to give it to you because I want you to think about it. I want to hear you in chat about this. The question would, what would you rather, win a bowl the first season or any season, but be last place all of the rest of the cycle? So win a bowl game that cycle, but you got to be last place the rest of that cycle, or be constantly in the playoffs, but never win it all. So would you rather be in the playoffs every single season, but never win the whole thing? Or would you rather win the whole thing one time and then last place the rest of the time? Think about it. When we come back, I'm going to talk about it, give you my thoughts, and then we're going to wrap some things up with a little rant of the night. Let's turn it over to our buddy Maniac and Dream Beam.
Howdy there, y'all. Have you ever had trouble staying fresh in your Madden game? Has your FPR really stunk it up? Do you reek from sweaty gameplay? If you answered yes to any of these, we can help. We are proud to tell you about a great new product. We call it Dream Bean. Yes, that's right. Dream Bean works hard to get rid of stale Madden gameplay. Penetrates deep into the pores to reach those stubborn, hard-to-reach FPR issues. Turn that Madden reek into Madden chic with Dream Bean, state-of-the-art design that gets the job done. We use all natural ingredients to create the best-smelling, cleaning FPR product on the market today. So don't delay. Call now and get yourself Dream Bean clean. Operators are standing by. Call 1-888-FPR-CLEAN. Call now.
Some of us in this league need a supersized case of some Dream Bean. So what would you rather, win it all and then be in the last place, or be in the playoffs every single season? If you're watching this later, let me know down in the comments, what would you rather? For me, give me the playoffs every single season and not winning it. This season has been brutal, y'all. Last cycle, I didn't win a lot. I don't know what has changed from last cycle to this cycle, but I think for me, this has been tough. This team is the toughest rebuild. If you type in rebuilds, Madden CFM, a lot of these content creators are rebuilding the Saints. They're the worst roster. The problem, as I've just watched a couple, just because they catch my attention, I'm interested to see what content creators are creating out there, which is boring stuff to me. But they're out there doing these radical, they're only playing CPU games, right? And they're doing these radical trades. And I can't do that, right? The thing about being in a human CFM is all the fun, all the content, all the competition. The problem is when you have a terrible team, it's really, really hard to rebuild in an all-human league. You got to do it through free agency. You got to do it through the draft. It's a little bit more difficult to do via trades because I just don't have players anybody wants. And my players that I have that would interest people are old, and then it's like, oh, I'm too old. And so anyway, it just sucks that this is going to be a really, really tough rebuild. So I'm saying all that to say, give me the playoffs every single season because this last place stuff, it just sucks. It ain't fun. I've yet to compete in any of the games I've played in, and they're just not fun, man. It's not fun going into every game knowing that no matter what, it's just not going to go your way and knowing that you're probably going to lose that game. So give me playoffs every single season and not winning the whole thing. And I figured a lot of you would say, one and done, give me the bowl, all that stuff. I see you guys saying in chat. I don't know that any of you can handle losing the rest of the cycle and being in last place. Love you all, but all the names that I see in the chat that have said, give me the bowl and lose last place the rest of the cycle, every single one of you, I think, would quit and not make it even 3 seasons in. There's no way. I know you all, you're way too competitive, and you just wouldn't last. I hate to tell you, but you just would not last. All right, we're going to one more commercial. When we come back, we're going to wrap the show up and we'll put a bow on this thing and call it a night. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I love it when our guy Miguel comes on the show. So let's get over to Miguel Law Firm.
¿Estás dolido por Madden? Oh, pues llama 4444. Es Miguel. Te ayudaré a mejorar tu vida. No Madden, no McDonald's, McFlurry. Adiós, amigo. 444-4444. Llama. Te puedo ayudar.
When your nips has been twisted, please call Miguel.
No hablamos inglés.
So Miguel was the first idea I had. I don't remember what happened, what clicked for me, but I was sitting here and I had an idea of getting Miguel to record something in Spanish that most of you wouldn't understand, but it would be done Miguel's way that would be funny and would just be hilarious. And then if people could translate, they would find out that it was about, hey, you get your nips in a twist, you get your feelings hurt about Madden, call Miguel Law Firm, like call somebody that can help you, right? To me, that was a hilarious concept. And when I reached out to him, it started to, like, every now and then creativity will start to rock and roll for me. And I started having all of these ideas. And Maniac took an idea that I had, went a totally different direction. It's so much better than what I came up with. Trey took and put a twist on my idea. He had a couple of swings and misses. Lost Sniper had a couple of swings and misses. But when we finally landed on all of them, I was like, these are pure gold. This is one of my favorite things we've ever created. So I appreciate all of those guys. And as Maniac said, if there's anybody that watches the show that you think you would put yourself out there to do one, it'd be a ton of fun. Hit me up on what your idea is. I've got 7 of them right now. I'd love to add more, and we'll probably update those every single cycle. But these are probably the ones I'll roll with the cycle, unless guys approach me and have an idea, or unless I come up with some other ideas. So it's been a fun show. I didn't get to get a guest this week. I had a crazy week. And sorry, this cough is still killing me, y'all. I didn't get to do the normal time that I'm trying to move us to, which is going to be 5 p.m. Central on Sundays, because the Saints played, and I should have probably done that. But I also was doing a home improvement project, so I wasn't really watching the Saints. They were on, and I was sort of listening, but they were so bad today. I was like, I would have turned this off immediately. So next Sunday, we'll get back. We'll try for the first time the 5 p.m. Central. Hopefully that fits for everybody. We'll get more people in chat, more people engaging with the content. And after next week, I want to start having a guest come join me, do a little hot seat action. Be a lot of fun to be able to do that. So hopefully you guys will be up to that. And I still plan on bringing the group back for, well, those who want to, for drafts, for bowl games, anybody of that group that was helping me with Press Pass Live that wants to come help me with some of those big time streams. Be a lot of fun. I also want to use the new multi-stream to come call a couple of games. Life has just been crazy here, I think it has been for a lot of us, so I have not had a chance to do that. Guys, it's been a fun show. Let me know what your surprises are down in the comments. I read every single one of them. Plus, it helps us with engagement. Let me know about the what would you rather? What direction would you go in? And then let me know what you think about the league right now. We're about halfway through. The latest update did change some things, and I'm playing with one more crazy idea. I hit the reset on all the penalties. I think there's one more thing I'm going to hit the reset on. I'll let you know what I'm thinking after this week, but the more I play these games and the way that they update these games and change these games and create these games, I just think you got to leave it alone. You got to do one of two things. You either got to leave it alone and stay default and just don't mess with it and just play the game that you got, or you got to chase your tail, which means every week you're making slider changes. I just don't think that's the way to go. Even though I don't mind that, I just don't think that the league in general likes that. So I don't know why this became a slider bowl or slider. I said slider bowl because I was reading Cincy's comment, but I don't know why this became a slider conversation. I think ultimately it's going to be about staying default, playing the game as we get the game, and just adjusting. I want to see more running yards, or a little more, not a ton more, but a little more running yards. I also want to see some more pressure on the quarterback, sack numbers up a little bit. I think everything else feels about right. Numbers for receivers are always going to be a little inflated, just where we are. It's how the league plays. I don't know that there's anything we'd ever deal with that. I've seen a lot of drops in my games the last couple of weeks, but again, because the wide receiver numbers are always inflated, I'm not touching the drops. Just leave them alone where they are, because if everybody catches everything, then those numbers are going to like double, and I just don't want that. All right, I'm getting out of here. Have a great start to your week this week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Know that I love you, that you matter. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and we will see you on the next Press Pass Live next Sunday, 5 p.m. Bye.
Smash that like and subscribe.